You know, we have some very special guests that come into the Economic War Room, and today is no exception. It's a dear friend, Alan B. Clark. He's a decorated Vietnam veteran. He's a war hero. He's a double amputee. He's given 2 legs for this country. He's also a West Point graduate, and he's probably the best connected person I know in the military and national security arena. He has a virtual who's who of national security experts that come through, and he served in the Bush administration in the Office of Veteran Affairs. And his historical background in his career, he was also a chartered financial analyst. That's something that I do, which means he was a financial expert and had the ability to study and analyze companies. He is a dear friend, and I want to welcome you, Alan.
Thank you,
Welcome
Kevin.
to the Economic War Room.
It's an honor to be on this program with you, I assure you.
Well, you've got a new book, Soldiers, Blood, and Bloodied Money. And when you first approached me with the idea, and we first started talking about it, I like, this is economic warfare, but with human lives involved.
A lot of books are war books, you know, war stories, and a lot of books are about finance and economics, and then a lot of books are about spirituality. Well, I put everything together in one book. It was kind of like the product of my life's work at this stage of my life, to put spiritual, economic, and warfare and casualties of war. Casualties of war. That's important to me.
There's a high human cost to war.
Not just the soldiers, not just the combatants, but the collateral damage of the civilians that get hurt in these wars. Many, many millions more of them every time in every war.
And yet there's some interesting causes why we enter wars. And I want to get into that, but before I do, I want to share, the foreword of this book is written by a mutual friend, Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. And you've had other books that you've written, and I looked at some of the endorsements. President Ronald Reagan, Senator Bob Dole, Roger Staubach, and Ross Perot. These are phenomenal people, and they are highly respectful of your work. And so I'm really intrigued, and I want to get into this. How'd you come up with the title, Soldier's Blood?
Well, I decided that looking at the money that is made that causes the blood to be shed, I said, okay, well, obviously there's 2 factors here. Number 1, soldier's blood that's shed. Number 2, bloodied money. I mean, the rich people and the armaments industry, et cetera, that make money off wars. So I called it, the money they make is bloodied money. And so its subtitle is Wars and the Ruling Elites, because I don't pull any punches on this. It's very sensational, very controversial. One of my publishers refused to publish it, secular war story publisher. I had to do it on my own, so it's self-published.
Now, when you're talking about the ruling elite and so forth, how does this relate to President Eisenhower's warning of the military-industrial complex?
Kevin, you know, the good Lord helps me, just like he does you. Literally, I was down till like 2 weeks before I was sending it for publishing. I recollected what Eisenhower said about a week before he was going to be out of office in 1961 about the military-industrial complex. And then I saw a clip of President Trump talking about Syria. And he says, look, I want to get out of these wars. He said, you know, there's certain people that make money off wars, and they want endless wars. They don't care. And so it's kind of like a tie from 60 years ago to today, with 2 presidents talking about we've got to be careful about analyzing why we're going to war and who are the forces pushing us to go into war and to make money from war.